President Bola Tinubu attends APC caucus meeting, urges governors to implement Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy. President Bola Tinubu to submit 2026 budget estimates to a joint session of the National Assembly on Friday. Abandoned headquarters building of government press set for revival as Information Minister says this is in line with government's focus on accountability. Hello and welcome to the late evening news at 11 on LIVE-18TH. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Comfort Fashim. President Bola Tinubu has urged state governors to ensure implementation of the Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy. The president spoke at the National Caucus meeting of the All Progressives Congress APC in Abuja. The meeting at Conference Center of the State House also had Vice President Kashim Shettima, a former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and President of the Senate Godswill Akpabio in attendance. Sitting and past state governors and National Assembly members and other stakeholders were equally in attendance, while governors of Bayelsa, Enugu, Delta and River State, who recently defected to the party, joined the caucus for the first time. President Tinubu says as part of ways to position the country for the better, the local government autonomy must be effective. He also expressed belief that with the popularity of the ruling party in the country, the idea of state police may soon be achieved. Various speakers at the meeting praised the policies and programs of President Tinubu's administration and commended what they described as bold and courageous policies, leading to wider popularity and size of the party. The caucus meeting had held ahead of the National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the party slated for tomorrow, Friday. Also, President Bola Tinubu will on Friday, 19th December 2025, present to a joint session of the National Assembly the 2026 National Budget Estimate for consideration and passage. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on this and other proceedings at the Senate this Thursday.
Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, will present the annual budget for year 2026 for the kind consideration of the National Assembly.
3 presidential communications were read in the course of plenary proceedings in the Red Chamber, first of which is the notification to present to the joint session federal government's fiscal proposals for 2026. Another request from the President is the 2025 budget of the Niger Delta Development Commission, as well as the confirmation request of the newly appointed Chief Executive Officers of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency and the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The confirmation process of the 2 appointees was expedited as they were invited immediately for screening to enable confirmation Friday. Senate had, at the commencement of plenary, confirmed 34 career and 30 non-career ambassadors appointed on the 4th of December by President Bola Tinubu, Senators Sahabi Ya'u and Ireti Kingibe, after the confirmation noted that Zamfara State and the Federal Capital Territory have no representation in the ambassadorial appointments.
I would want us to draw the attention of Mr. President that Zamfara State needs his, we need also to be included.
We've always had an ambassador and we're not included in this list.
I assure you that I will take it up with Mr. President and it shall be addressed. The list of ambassador nominees is not exhaustive.
Plenary was adjourned to Friday as Nigeria's bicameral legislature is set to host President Bola Tinubu for the laying of the annual budget. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has passed a resolution to admit President Bola Tinubu into its hallowed chambers for presentation of the 2026 appropriation bill. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ipe reports that the House also concluded considerations of amendments to the Electoral Act 2022 with resolutions on criminalizing overvoting.
The Green Chamber, which traditionally plays host to joint sessions of the National Assembly, indicates readiness to roll out the red carpet for the 2026 budget presentation.
I write to crave the kind indulgence of the House of Representatives to grant me the slot on Friday, 19 December 2025.
I rise to move that this House do admit Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The House then expeditiously passed the 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, retaining projected crude oil benchmark of $64.84 and domestic oil production of 1.84 million barrels per day for the 2026 fiscal year. Another presidential communication seeking consideration and passage of the 2025 budget of the Niger Delta Development Commission was referred to the House Committee on NDDC.
The NDDC is prioritizing improvement in youth empowerment, energy and power supply.
Critical amendments to the Electoral Act 2022 include the provision mandating political parties seeking a merger to each give 9 months notice to INEC, and another proposal to make presiding officers liable for overvoting.
Where the number of votes cast at an election in any polling unit exceeds the number of accredited voters in that polling unit, the presiding officer shall deduct the number of excess votes across all political parties in that political unit, and the presiding officer shall be prosecuted in accordance with the provisions of Section 145 of this Act.
The presiding officer shall deduct excess votes proportionately across all political parties in that polling unit.
If a party scores 0 and you want to subtract from that party across board,
we are not subtracting.
Let me make the point. Let me make the point.
One point we have to impute in this should be the prosecution of the presiding officer.
The House Committee on Electoral Matter believes that diaspora voting is still a tall order.
There are some things that we ought to put in place first. In Nigeria today, our registration of NIN, I believe, is still about 30%. That's what you call social security number in America. And anywhere you want to do diaspora voting, you must be able to know who are Nigerians first.
A conference committee is expected to harmonize the resolutions of the Senate and House of Representatives on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ipe, NTA News.
All right, let's go back to our top story. President Bola Tinubu has urged state governors to ensure implementation of the Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy. The president spoke at the National Caucus meeting of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Abuja. The meeting at Conference Center of the State House also had Vice President Kashim Shettima, former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in attendance. The sitting and past state governors, National Assembly members, and other stakeholders were equally in attendance, while governors of Bayelsa, Enugu, Delta, and River State, who recently defected to the party, joined the caucus for the first time. President Tinubu says as part of ways to position the country for the better, the local government autonomy must be effective.
The local government autonomy, it is and must be effective. Let us give them. There is no autonomy without funded mandates. We'll give them their money directly. That's the truth. That's compliance with the Supreme Court.
He also expressed belief that with the popularity of the ruling party in the country, the idea of state police may soon be achieved. Various speakers at the meeting praised the policies and programs of President Tinubu's administration and commended what they described as bold and courageous policies, leading to wider popularity and size of the party.
So the Senate commends you once again. We did that in the chambers for the intervention you had to undertake in Benin Republic to stabilize democracy there. I thought we should clap for the president. Thank you, Mr. President, for a courageous decision. We have also taken steps in the Senate to take bold decisions aimed at deterring those who want to join banditry. One of which is we have ensured that kidnapping joins the rank and file of terrorism, and therefore kidnappers will now face death sentence once the president assigns the new bill into law.
Looking ahead, 2026 should be approached as a year of consolidation and delivery. The focus must be on translating reform momentum into tangible outcomes for all Nigerians.
Our party continues to grow in strength and national acceptance through the visionary leadership of Mr. President, whose achievement has yielded great results for the nation's economy. As a party, we are supporting Mr. President with a robust membership drive that is consolidating our structures across the Federation. Recent political development underscored APC's pan-Nigerian character, including significant defections that have further expanded our influence, particularly in recent several high-profile individuals and groups.
What we are witnessing today is not only satisfying, but has encouraged Nigerians, both those at home and in diaspora, to rise in unison, to commend that we now have a better economy as a country. We have a better political space as a country. The environment has allowed the rule of law to thrive, but we must be united.
The caucus meeting held ahead of the National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the party slated for tomorrow, Friday. You're watching the late evening news at 11 on NTN 24. We take a breather. Stay with us.
Baffy Furniture's legendary final sale of the year is here. This festive season, enjoy extra savings on luxury and comfortable sofa sets, modern and functional dining sets, sophisticated and smart bed sets, and our royal collections. Classy, premium, and truly exclusive. Shop 10 million naira and receive a complimentary Daisy tea set. Spend 15 million and take home a 65-inch smart TV. Go higher at 20 million and experience unmatched comfort with our exclusive massage chair. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online. It's big, it's bold, it's unforgettable. It's Baffy Furniture.
Feel the power of precision, engineered to perfection. Every component is crafted with care, and each design is meticulously tested. From concept to creation, our engineers push the boundaries of technology, seamlessly blending performance and sustainability with a deep commitment to African ingenuity. Introducing the CNG Boss, a remarkable achievement in engineering designed to operate on compressed natural gas, a cleaner and more sustainable fuel alternative. At Innocent Vehicles, we proudly lead the way in creating greener mobility across Africa. And it doesn't stop there. From SUVs to sedans, spacious buses to electric cars, Innocent offers a wide range of models designed to meet every need. Innocent Vehicle, the pride of African roads.
This is NTA News 24.
The federal government is taking decisive measures to revive the abandoned headquarters building of the government's press and to end several years of neglect and waste of resources. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, while on an assessment tour of the facility in Abuja, says the abandoned project is inconsistent with the federal government's renewed focus on accountability. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Tattered roof, broken glass windows, and doors are visible symbols of vandalization on these gigantic structures sitting in Asokoro, the nation's capital city. Record from the ministry shows that the construction of this new headquarters complex of the federal government press, which began 24 years ago, but stopped 9 years ago, was being handled by DVT & Co., a construction company with now an unknown address at the cost of 351 million naira.
This is heart-wrenching. This is colossal waste to the nation. Like you said, the foundation stone was laid here during the administration of President Obasanjo in 2001. Virtually, the building has been virtually completed, about 70% complete, as we can see. Some of the equipment was supplied here as far back as 2007. It's so sad that many of this equipment are still even in their crates. No one has made any attempt to even open up these crates to see what is there. Some of the technology has become really obsolete already. But at a time that government is trying to preserve what it has, I think this is a time for stock taking to look at what we need to do with this place so that we can bring it back to use for the benefit of Nigerians.
The inspection by the minister and staff of the ministry is to renew the hope of these multi-billion naira equipment and structures that are wasting.
At that time, we needed just a fraction of money to see this completed. But now, of course, with inflation, we know what that means. It's billions of naira in waste here. So we thought that we cannot continue to close our eyes to see this facility wasting further. Therefore, something has to be done. We will make a recommendation to Mr. President as to what, or to the Federal Executive Council, as to what we can do with this.
The federal government press is a department in the Ministry of Information and National Orientation responsible for the production of all printing and publishing requirements of the federal government of Nigeria and its ministries, departments, and agencies. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The federal government has announced a new approach to public communication, shifting from the reliance on periodic press briefings to direct, structured engagement with service delivery ministries to ensure Nigerians clearly understand ongoing reforms and their benefits. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during a strategic visit to the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, says the measure becomes inevitable in view of the steady progress of the renewed hope agenda across ministries, departments, and agencies. Again, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Effective communication of government activities enhances public trust. In order to tell good stories, the government storyteller believes the new strategy, in addition to the traditional ministerial press briefings, will add value to information flow and boost credibility.
There is a need for us to identify key ministries and go to them and learn more about what they do. It's not just to wait for them or invite them for the periodic ministerial press briefing that we hold at Radio House. There's a need for us to also reach out to them to understand what they do, for them to also understand us. And I said I was going to come with also some heads, critical heads of some of the agencies here that you need to reach Nigerians so that they can understand what you do. It is said in the communication parlance that 50% of the execution is actually in the communication, meaning that if you don't communicate, you have done nothing. What is not known has never happened or has never taken place. And therefore, we feel we will kickstart these visits to key ministries.
Health, they say, is not only wealth, but central to development. The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare was the first port of call where the government image promoter took his first dose of information directly from those driving the renewed hope reform policies in the health sector.
So I want to say that your visit essentially is very timely because you and your agencies can help tell more of the story of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's successes in health. You've came to the right starting point for your visit because without health, there's nothing else. There's no work, there's no farm, there's no trading, there's no business, there's no manufacturing, there's no infrastructure, there's no driving, there's nothing. Health is so critical, and I think that's the wisdom that the President had in prioritizing health transformation out of his renewed hope agenda.
This is very, very good initiative. I think that for us in the health sector, because most of the time, what we do are not physical. When you give 14 million people immunization, it's not physically seen. And people may not appreciate it when compared to doing 20 kilometers of road. Or, so we deeply appreciate this visit, which helps us to push out these things that we're doing.
And we want to say thank you, Honorable Minister, for coming. You have come to the right place. The coordinating minister and the Minister of State, alongside the top management, which includes all heads of agencies, have done quite a lot in the last 2 years under the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. And I'm very sure that your visit here today, after you leave, sir, you would want to come back because there's so much to give you about the health sector.
The minister was accompanied by heads of relevant agencies under his watch, who are at the forefront of redefining government communication and ensuring that Nigerians fully understand ongoing reforms in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The national women leader of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Mary Alile, has emphasized the importance of compassion and solidarity among women, stating that when one woman is lifted, families, communities, and the nation are equally uplifted. This was while hosting party women to dual celebration marking the Christmas season. Dr. Alile expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu for his commitment to inclusive governance and women-focused initiatives and thanked the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu for her renewed hope initiatives designed to ensure women's welfare and empowerment nationwide. During the celebrations, food items were distributed to less privileged women to help them celebrate the Yuletide season.
Resonate deeply with the APC women worldwide, and we stand proudly with you. To our Mr. President, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, we say thank you. We say thank you for your commitment to inclusive governance. We say thank you for your commitment to women empowerment.
Party leaders, including the APC national youth leaders, also applauded Dr. Alile for her tireless efforts across the nation in reaching out to party women. Nigeria stands at a defining crossroad with electoral reforms necessary and technology being central to strengthening the nation's democracy, but only when thoughtfully introduced, transparency tested and backed by infrastructure that is resilient, secure and professionally governed. This is coming from the national chairman of the Because of Our Tomorrow Party booth, Sunday Adenuga, who has spoken on two major proposals before the National Assembly: the shifting of future general elections to November and making electronic transmission of results by beavers as legal mandate rather than an operational guideline. These proposals, Adenuga says, are significant, yet in their current form carry risk capable of undermining electoral credibility rather than improving its, especially because the internet infrastructure required for electronic transmission is not controlled by INEC. The Boots Party chairman says that for southern and riverine states, the rainy season often extends into October and November, with floods disrupting lives and livelihood. And this, he says, could mean polling materials may not reach thousands of polling units. Beavers' devices may be exposed to moisture, power instability and transparent barriers, and entire local governments may be inaccessible on election day as well as low turnout. The general electorate receives no early voting option. Thus, November election could surprise turnouts for millions while offering no compensatory early voting mechanism. He says electronic transmission cannot be guaranteed unless infrastructure providers are legally bound to provide the required uptime, security, and nationwide readiness. Adenuga says the Boot Party calls for safer election dates, clear, enforceable obligations for all infrastructure providers, transparent testing, realistic timeliness, and a credible system that Nigerians can trust. That is it on the news. Thank you for being part of it. I am Comfort Fashim.
This is NTA News 24.